Hi, I'm Alex Millerin.
And I'm Brooke Wilson from CSTV Movie Reviews. This week we're going to be talking about the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, which recently came out in theaters. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan, Alex?
I am indeed. I love those movies. I think they're great. And I love the representation of mythology, of real life mythology that works its way into it.
Yeah, I've never actually seen anything else like them because you have fantasy movies that come after it and everything, but this I feel like was really the first fantasy movie that had creatures and everything in it that was really unlike anything else.
Yeah. The first movie, of course, was The Fellowship of the Ring. What did you think of that one?
This, I saw it when I was really young for the first time. My family took us to go see it in theaters, and I think this one might be my favorite out of all of them just because it gets everything started. In the beginning, it tells you about the history of the books and everything and how the rings come about. And I like how you meet all the characters in it too, and I really like how it kicks off the entire series.
I agree with you. The first one was also my favorite. Elijah Wood did a great job as Frodo, and that was kind of his first real starring role, which I felt was good for him.
Yeah, and especially afterwards, he kind of, not necessarily a household name, but people know who Elijah Wood is now because of his role in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and whenever anybody says, do you know who Elijah Wood is, their first response is Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And then, of course, there was the co-star Sean Astin, who played Sam, whom people usually know from The Goonies.
I feel like Sam's the most lovable character because he's the best friend.
Yeah.
It just helps him out, always has a good attitude.
He's like the moral support.
He is.
Yeah.
And then there's also Gandalf and everybody else. And
yeah. Gandalf is portrayed by Ian McKellen.
Yes.
And then there's Legolas.
Orlando Bloom, which I'm sure everybody loves.
Yeah, Legolas is actually my favorite character. I can't really say why. I think it's the bow and arrow.
It probably is. He never runs out of arrows, I noticed. He'll be shooting his arrow all the time, and he never has to restock and stuff like that, and just always has something.
Yeah, in that respect, between him and Gimli's competition, Gimli should always win.
But definitely, and then when they get the entire fellowship together too, that I think is a cool part towards the end.
That's actually my favorite scene when the fellowship first forms, and then it unfortunately ends with, a couple of deaths, and then at the very end, it's just Sam and Frodo going off to destroy the ring.
And then that leads into the second movie, which I think might be my least favorite. It used to scare me when I was little. Because it opens up with the towers and everything, and all the creatures that are in and I don't know, a lot of them are weird looking creatures, and I did not like that when I was younger.
Yeah. The Two Towers actually put more of a focus, not a huge focus, but a little more of a focus on the characters Pippin and Merry, whom I loved. I felt like they were the comic relief of the movie.
Yeah, my favorite is when they get to the trees and they get lost in there and they all help them out.
Yeah, that's a great scene. And when the trees start to attack Isengard.
But the Twin Towers, definitely, I probably know the least about it too. Because I've seen them a long time ago, but I've stayed away from that one just from being scarred as a kid.
Well, the Two Towers also introduces the character that most associate with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Gollum.
I think he's who scared me when I was little. Oh, I did not like him at all. And growing up, I kind of got to know him a little bit more and why he's so creepy, but still can't get over the look of it, which I think a lot of people can't really.
Andy Serkis, who played Gollum, he did a great job, I thought.
He did do a great job.
He really brought across the creepiness and the madness that was Gollum.
And it's really cool if you've ever seen the special features or extra scenes or anything. They go into how he became Gollum and Smeagol, and you see him with his green screen suit on and stuff, and it's that had to have been so difficult to act because you have no scenery around you. You're just in a room by yourself, and everything is created on the computer.
Yeah.
So that had to have been really difficult.
And then, of course, the Two Towers ends with Gollum turning back to his darker side. And then that really leads into the Return of the King.
Yes. And I like the last one also, just because it's the big finale and it gets everything tied together. Everyone who was split up comes back together, and it's a nice finish for the series, I think.
Yeah, and then the character Aragorn, he starts to turn away from the ranger and starts to become the actual king that he's meant to be.
He takes on the leadership role and everything. And everyone kind of falls into their rightful place, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the last battle I think was really cool too, with like the elephants and everything, and it was really awesome.
When I first saw the movie, I was shocked when Frodo did not drop the ring into the mountain.
Oh, when
yeah.
he took it instead.
Yeah, and he's like, the ring is mine.
Yeah, it was kind of probably a big shocker for people, especially when Gollum or Smeagol jumps in after him too.
Yeah, and then Gollum falls with the ring and dies.
But that definitely, it was a nice ending to the whole series, I think.
Yeah.
And they're definitely, for the hardcore fans of The Lord of the Rings too, I think even though books are always pretty much better than the movies, I think they represented them pretty well.
Yeah, and then I love how they portrayed all 4 hobbits as heroes in the end.
It was nice.
Yeah, but then of course they talk a little about Bilbo and how he misses all the adventures that he had, which is why they decided to make a prequel movie, The Hobbit.
Yeah, it's The Hobbit, which actually it came out right before break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually haven't had the chance to see it yet, but everyone says that it's amazing, and I know the story though because I have read the book in high school before, and I thought it was actually, I kind of like the story a bit better because it really goes into how everything gets started, I think.
Yeah, I loved The Hobbit. I actually did see it, and I thought it was amazing. It was a little bit shorter than the rest of the Lord of the Rings movies, but Martin Freeman, who played Bilbo, I thought he did a fantastic job.
He did, I bet. And I bet it was cool to see a younger Bilbo because in the first 3 movies he's so much older, and to see him in that respect as a character was probably a lot cooler.
Like in the beginning, he's a bit more of your natural hobbit. He's quiet and reserved. He's not looking for any trouble until Gandalf comes along.
And then they're making into 3 movies too, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I heard a rumor that it was going to be 4, but I don't think that's true.
Oh, wow. That would be a lot. It's going to be, I guess, like another Star Wars or something where they do the prequels afterwards, too, which would be cool. I bet a lot of Lord of the Rings fans are very excited for them, too.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away about the actual movie itself because, some of you might not have seen it yet.
But definitely go and try and see it. I know I definitely will because a lot of good reviews have been coming out for it.
Yeah, you can definitely see the connections between the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and this new one.
Yes. But for now, that's all we can really say about it. But tune in next week, and we'll be giving you more reviews from CSTV.
Thanks for watching.